Have you ever come home from a perfectly good hangout, closed the door behind you, and felt your mood drop like a stone? No argument, no drama, just a sudden heaviness you can't explain, and wondered, what's wrong with me? You're about to understand what's actually happening in your brain after socializing, why this emotional crash is far more common than you think, and how learning this can change the way you relate to yourself, your energy, and your mental health in a way that feels relieving instead of shameful. Starts quietly. You're at the gathering, the meeting, the family visit, the church event, the friend's birthday. You're smiling at the right moments. You're listening. You're responding. You're present enough that no one would guess anything is wrong. On the outside, everything looks fine, maybe even enjoyable. And then you leave. You step into your car or your room, the noise fades, the lights dim, and suddenly your body feels heavy. Your chest feels hollow or tight. Your thoughts slow or turn self-critical. You replay conversations. You feel drained, sad, irritable, or numb. You might even think, I shouldn't feel this way. Nothing bad happened. And yet there it is. That drop. That crash. That confusing emotional low that arrives right after connection. Not during it. This is the moment most people never talk about, but it's where the real story begins. What you're experiencing isn't weakness or antisocial behavior or a personal flaw. It's something psychologists often refer to as the social burnout effect, a neurobiological and emotional response that happens when your brain has been in sustained social engagement mode and suddenly loses the stimulation and structure it was using to regulate itself. To understand why this feels so intense, we need to step inside the brain for a moment, but gently, without jargon, without judgment. When you socialize, your brain is working harder than you realize. It tracks facial expressions, tone of voice, and body language. It's monitoring what you say, how it lands, when to speak, when to listen. Your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for decision-making, impulse control, and social regulation, is highly active. At the same time, your limbic system is scanning for safety and belonging. Are you accepted? Are you included? Are you being evaluated? Even in positive interactions, this system stays alert. Socializing is not passive for the brain. It's effortful, especially if you're empathetic, introspective, anxious, introverted, neurodivergent, or simply sensitive to emotional cues. To keep you engaged and functional during social interaction, your brain releases neurotransmitters like dopamine and norepinephrine. Dopamine helps you feel motivated and interested. Norepinephrine keeps you alert and responsive. Cortisol may rise slightly, not in a dangerous way, but enough to keep you socially on. This chemical balance allows you to perform connections. But here's the part most people don't realize. Once the interaction ends, those chemicals don't gently taper off. They drop. And when they drop, especially after sustained engagement, your nervous system can swing in the opposite direction. This is why the crash feels sudden. It's not that something went wrong emotionally. It's that your brain lost the stimulation it was using to stay regulated. Think of it like this. During social interaction, your brain is running on external power. Conversation, eye contact, laughter, and feedback. They all act like a temporary generator. When the generator shuts off, your system has to switch back to internal regulation. And if your baseline is already tired, stressed, lonely, or emotionally loaded, that switch can feel like falling through a trapdoor. For people who are already managing anxiety, depression, ADHD, or chronic stress, this effect can be amplified. Your brain may rely more heavily on external cues to maintain mood stability. So when those cues disappear, the emotional contrast feels sharper. It's not that you didn't enjoy the social time. It's that your nervous system is now revealing how much effort it took. There's also an emotional layer beneath the biology. Social interaction often activates parts of us that we don't consciously notice. Old attachment patterns wake up. The part of you that wants to be understood, liked, valued, or not forgotten quietly steps forward. During the interaction, that part feels soothed by presence and attention. But when you're alone again, it can feel exposed. The quiet invites reflection. And reflection can quickly turn into rumination. Did I talk too much? Did I say the wrong thing? Did they really enjoy my company? This isn't vanity. It's the brain's threat system trying to make sense of social data after the fact. There's a moment, often a few minutes or hours after you get home, where the emotional weight peaks. This is the most dramatic part of the social burnout effect, and it's where many people misinterpret what's happening. They assume the low mood means something is wrong with their relationships, or that socializing isn't worth it, or that they're broken for feeling worse instead of better. But the truth is more compassionate and more empowering. This moment is your nervous system asking for recovery, not withdrawal. It's not saying don't connect, it's saying please let me rest. Your brain doesn't just need rest from physical effort. It needs rest from emotional processing. Social interaction requires micro-adjustments every second. When it's over, your system needs time to downshift. But modern life rarely gives us that space. We go from people to phones, from noise to notifications, from stimulation to more stimulation. And when the crash hits, we judge ourselves instead of listening. Here's something important that often surprises people. This post-social mood drop doesn't mean you're an introvert, and it doesn't mean you dislike people. Even extroverts experience this. The difference is that extroverts often seek out new stimulation quickly, masking the crash, while introverts feel it more directly because they turn inward. But the underlying mechanism is the same. A nervous system that has been on for too long needs a safe off-ramp. Another factor at play is emotional authenticity. Many people subtly mask during social interactions. Not in a dishonest way, but in a socially adaptive way. You might tone down sadness, hide fatigue, soften opinions, or manage reactions to keep the interaction smooth. This self-regulation costs energy. When you're finally alone, the mask drops, not consciously but physiologically. Your true emotional state resurfaces. If that state includes exhaustion, loneliness, or unprocessed stress, it can feel like it came out of nowhere, even though it was there all along. This is why the crash often feels confusingly emotional. You might feel tearful without knowing why, or irritable, or empty, or suddenly aware of things you've been avoiding. The quiet after connection acts like a mirror, and mirrors don't create what they reflect, they just reveal it. Understanding this changes everything. Instead of asking, why do I feel like this? You can start asking, what does my nervous system need right now? Sometimes the answer is silence. Sometimes it's music. Sometimes it's movement. Sometimes it's journaling. Sometimes it's just lying down and letting your body recalibrate. The key is to stop treating the crash as a failure and start treating it as a transition. There's also power in anticipation. When you know the social burnout effect exists, you can plan for it. You can build in decompression time after social events instead of stacking obligations. You can avoid emotionally charged decisions during the crash window. You can speak to yourself more gently when the low mood arrives, reminding yourself that this is temporary. This is biological. This is not a verdict on my life. Over time, this awareness builds resilience. You stop fearing the emotional drop because you understand its rhythm. And when fear leaves, curiosity takes its place. You begin to notice patterns. What kinds of social interactions drain you more? Which ones nourish you? How long your system needs to reset? This isn't avoidance. It's self-knowledge. And here's the quiet, hopeful truth at the center of all this. The fact that you feel deeply after socializing means your nervous system is responsive, not broken. Means you're attuned. Means connection matters to you. The crash isn't evidence that you're bad at relationships. It's evidence that you care enough for them to cost you energy. As the emotional wave settles, something else often emerges. A softer clarity. The realization that you don't need to push yourself to be on all the time. That rest isn't withdrawal. Honoring your nervous system is an act of mental health, not selfishness. When you stop fighting the crash, it shortens. When you meet it with understanding, it teaches you. So the next time you come home after socializing and feel that familiar drop, pause. Take a breath. Let your body know it's safe to land. Nothing went wrong. You're just transitioning from connection to restoration. And learning to respect that transition is one of the most powerful forms of self-awareness you can develop. If this helps you see yourself more clearly, stay with this space. These conversations are here to help you understand your mind, not judge it. There's more ahead. more clarity, more science, more compassion, and you don't have to navigate it alone.